somebody just put up on YouTube like 2 years later, just said, when did they get around to talk about the movie? What a load of waffle. And I was so pleased with that.
Ocean Drives films with Eclipse Dine-In Cinemas Bundoran. Now serving pizza, hot dogs, ice cream, and more to your seat. Find out more at Eclipse.
Well, time to join our man who, well, probably going to be blowing in the wind shortly.
Well, yeah, there is no better way of putting it, but not so far. So we're all okay for tonight. I think we're probably going to skip the early afternoon shows tomorrow and just go straight for the night. You know, got to look after your customers and you got to look after people. Although I was just thinking there, Shamey, you were saying, you know, when you were doing the job ad beforehand, you were saying, oh, they have to be able to work independently and on their own. And all I could think of is last night, all I had to do was give somebody a cup of tea, and then I was out the door to watch Celtic, right? Because I'd seen the movies. And Ocean FM's own Michelle turned up, and I didn't even know who it was, right?
Oh.
That's how rubbish I am. So I'd like to start with a big apology. I was in the car on the way home before I went, oh my God, that's who it was. So we're all a bit bedraggled and windswept already before we get here. But sure, we've another week of movies.
Okay.
2 movies. And listen, even though today's the Oscar call out, and I think we're going to talk about that later, we've had a load of Oscar type movies. This week, we definitely don't. Right? I reckon our first movie, I'm really looking forward to seeing it, but I don't think it's going to trouble the Academy or any awards people at all.
It looks a bit on the claustrophobic side.
Yeah, I think so.
So we can testify against the Moretti crime family.
Okay, hey, you're the boss.
Can't seem to face up to the facts. I'm dancing nervous and I can't relax.
Is it always this bumpy?
No, a number of passengers have left their lunch up here. I can open a snack bar.
Can't sleep cause my bed's on fire.
Your neck okay? You got a scratch there.
Maintenance. Occupational hazard.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm a real life fire. Psycho killer. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
That's the plot. There we go.
Yeah, they really don't hide it, did they? I remember watching this trailer for the first time about a year ago, and I was going, oh, this looks intriguing. And pretty much straight away, so that's Marky. I've got to stop calling him Marky Mark. I say that every time.
Don't do.
But he's always going to be Marky Mark Wahlberg to me. Mark Wahlberg is the pilot flying them, and you're pretty much straight away in the trailer it says, and he's the guy who's there to assassinate the government witness, right? And then there's going to be a crash, there's always going to be chases and so on. So this is, again, what they call a high concept movie. You can describe it in a bit. 3 people stuck in a plane, one of them is trying to kill the other 2. Enjoy yourself for an hour and a half. And I have to say, right, all that aside, I am, because I have loved A Complete Unknown. I have loved Baby Girl and all of these serious movies we've had. But I might just be in the mood for some fun. And again, it's about an hour and 25 minutes long. They're just going to go crash, smash, bash, wallop. There you go. And what's one of the things I found interesting, I kind of alluded to this last week, right? So the advertising everywhere says, by the director of Braveheart, by the director of Apocalypto, by the director of The Passion of the Christ. They don't mention his name. His name is Mel Gibson. And, but he, you know, say what you will about Mel, and lots of people will, but he does know how to direct a good action movie like this. And it does look pretty much full on, in your face, popcorn fun. And, you know, after, look, we might have our own thrills and spills tomorrow morning, but once we're all through that, you know, I think sometimes it can be underestimated just to go to the cinema for a big experience. See something on the big screen, crashing around, people having fun. You can see Marky's having a good time because he's shaving his head, looking bald, right?
Yeah.
That's a big thing for an actor to do. You know, he's signed on because, let's face it, their hair is their business, right?
Well, I tell you, I'm glad Mel Gibson is back to directing, because I've seen something recently. I won't even mention the movie or but it was probably the worst movie I'd ever seen him, and they probably used him as to sell the movie or something. You know,
Yeah.
I'll take the money and he's gone.
And we're
But
getting
Ahmed is
passionate.
incredibly funny,
Yeah.
and there's actually clips. If you want to watch clips on YouTube of from the film, and there's a couple of clips in there, and they're extremely
Yeah.
of him directing. That's all I
Yeah.
was saying.
And we're getting Passion of the Christ 2 as well next year, which of course is still one of the biggest money making movies of all time because it was made on a budget of nothing and it made huge money. So if you fancy a leave your brain at home this weekend, I think Flight Risk might just do it for you.
Okay, we're back in the supernatural thriller drama. Oh, here,
Well,
presence.
here's the thing, you know. So I like the idea of this one, and like I'm not huge into horror as well. But what they kind of have said is, what if one of those haunted house movies, instead of just being, you walk around the corner and somebody goes boom, like they usually are. What if it was made by a proper director, which is Steven Soderbergh, who said he was retiring 2 years ago? So it's kind of like a classy horror where it's going to be all tension and suspense. There's not going to be like monsters jumping out. And in this, Lucy Liu's kind of making a comeback, and I think it's quite obvious, she is possibly the ghost in the house, and it's kind of the people haunting her rather than the other way around. This again has got really good reviews. It's called Presence. I should actually say what it's called. Another one that's an interesting movie this week, just something a little bit different, and it's a fairly eclectic taste. Like we were talking about those two, Baby Girl's still doing well, and I have to say, Seamie, partly down to yourself, because I know you haven't stopped talking about A Complete Unknown to people. It was packed last night, even with the weather. It's absolutely packed last night. It's packed again tonight, and it's doing really well. And also, while I'm at it, can I mention just for tonight, in case anybody's thinking, the storm's coming tomorrow, I might get out and entertain myself tonight. For one night only, we've brought back A Better Man, the Robbie Williams movie that I think has been one of the most underrated ones in that. People went, man, he's a chimp. I've no interest in that. And it's great. It's so much fun. And I don't know if you saw the clip of Roy Keane going on saying it was in his top 5 movies of all time.
Yeah.
Now, whether the Saipan movie we have next year will be in his top 5.
That'll probably put that. Missed it Monday. You have Conclave coming back, which is up for Academy Awards as well.
Yeah, I think Ray Fiennes might win the actor. I think this is a good chance. I think some of our favourites are going to win. I think he might win for that. I think Kieran Culkin might win for Real Pain, but if he doesn't, I think it'll be Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. Yeah. But I think Ray Fiennes, who is brilliant in Conclave, if you remember the story, it's a pope has died. And it's about the election of a new pope, but really it's more like a political thriller about who's going to get it. And like, if you think it's mad, all you have to do is look what happened in the Dáil yesterday, right? For that
Don't mention the war.
Yeah, but I think it's really clever, and it's one of the most beautiful looking movies you've seen, and you can see it for only a $5 this Monday. So Conclave, highly recommended. Go see it now so you can show off to everyone when he wins the Oscar and say, well, I told you ages ago that he would win the Oscar.
Yeah, I saw you. That's your choice for the Oscar anyway. Of course, sad news for the Irish lads. They didn't make it.
No, they had quite the response on social media, which I am not going to say here.
No.
But you know what?
Anyway.
Even still, it was a humongous success despite everything. And I am quite glad to see some of the other roles. As I said, Demi Moore, I would love to see win the Oscar for The Substance. Ray Fiennes, Kieran Culkin, and maybe Isabella Rossellini as well for Best Supporting Actress. So it's one of those years that I think people looking at the list will say, oh, sure, I haven't seen any of those, because it's a fairly arty mixed list. But there's lots of interesting stuff there that you can go and explore. And I think we'll have a bit of fun this year. I think there's some good stuff there. But I think Conclave, I think that might be the secret one.
Might be the secret one. We'll talk more about the Oscars next week. Look, have a good week at the movies, and stay out of the storm.
Yeah.
And she'll be back open tomorrow evening anyway, won't she?
Yeah, absolutely. Back as normal for the main shows tomorrow night.